to this point in our lives that our children are doing superbly, and our son has a little bit more to go, and he will get there. And there's just so much of this that people can get overwhelmed, and they can say, I don't know what to do. Can you just tell me something to do? And what I tell people is, make a small list, make your small list, and then make your big list. Don't stress yourself out too much. But you make the top 3 or 5 things that are really concerning you. Say if your child is completely nonverbal, then obviously that is a big issue. Or if your child has attention deficit disorder, with or without hyperactivity, attention span is very important. It's crucial for schooling and for participation in life. You need to be able to focus long enough to be able to get from one thing to the next. And therefore, you start with one thing. And then after you decide what the one thing is that's very important to you and to your family, then you decide you're going to do one thing. You're either going to add one thing or you're going to subtract one thing. And you only do one change at a time. And we have a big calendar on our refrigerator. It has the big blocks. And so every time we give a supplement or we give a medicine or a vitamin or anything else that we do that's different than we've done, we put the initial of the person who took it, and then we put what it is and how much it was that was given. Or the food, if we're, when they were babies, I did the food journal to record if they had any food sensitivities or allergies and that kind of thing as well. But then you can see the pattern. You can look back on your calendar and go, okay, well, we started vitamin C on this day, and now suddenly he's having diarrhea. Well, let's scale back on that. That's going to be obvious. But if you get real intense, like some people want to just fix it all at once. I mean, we all do. We didn't want to get in this boat as we got in it, and some of us didn't even know we were in it until we were really in it, and we didn't like it. But what we do realize is that we can change one thing. So you change the one thing, and then you see what happens. And then sometimes, some people will wait, and they'll wait a day or two, and then they'll add something or change something else. I recommend waiting at least a week, sometimes even a month. We've waited several months. If something's really big, like a chelation agent, when you don't know how the body's going to respond, then you don't really want to be adding something else in, because then you're going to have all this stuff, and you're going to have alphabet soup, you're going to have all these vitamins over here, and you've started this therapy and that therapy. You're not going to know what you've gotten into, which is going to be a concern, because if you throw all this stuff in the mix, you don't know where you are. So doing one thing at a time is very important. While all at the same time, with all of these things that we can do, as if the list is not already long enough, we have to find time to take care of ourselves, which includes our physical bodies, our nutrition, our drinking plenty of water, and exercising when we can exercise, just taking care of ourselves in any way that we can. Because dealing with special needs, let's just have a show of hands. How many of you live with a person with special needs or have special needs yourself? Okay, so you all know what it's like. You're just always on call. I felt like when we were first going through all this, I kept thinking, I'm never going to get to sleep again, because our son didn't sleep, and he didn't sleep. I was expecting him. He wasn't sleeping. I wasn't sleeping, so it was but now, thank goodness. And people are going to say, oh, well, did you do all these psychotropic and psychiatric medications? We have never done any of those, and thank goodness we have not had to. I say start at the lowest level of whatever you feel like you can do, and then move forward. You can always add more later, but you don't want to start a child. You don't really want to start a 2-year-old child out on all these medicines anyway, because if you read the fine print, they're never tested on pregnant or or small children, pregnant women or nursing or small children. So you really, I'm not saying I'm totally against medication, because there are reasons and times when medication is necessary. And sometimes people, you may have heard of our group before, and you may have said, some people have said stuff like, oh, that's the biomedical group. No, we're the information group. My purpose in life for Mothers Moving Mountains is to equip, encourage, and educate families on how to find help and how to navigate the system. I don't have all the answers, but I've done this long enough, I've lived it long enough, I've had the professional experience, but my day-to-day experience with our son has more than prepared me for such a time as this. And I don't come up here saying I have all the answers, but I do have answers that have worked for us and have worked on other families. And it's incredible. To have your child literally not be able to say a single word at a certain point, to lose every word that he had, and then to suddenly, over time, gradually, and I say suddenly because things had a way of emerging that it didn't ever seem sudden to me. Some people may look at it and say 3 years is not that long, or 5 years is not that long, but when you're going through it, every second, people kept saying to me, oh, your child's life is just going to fly by in front of your eyes. Well, I'll say the first 4 or 5 years were so hard, didn't ever fly by. The only time that flew by, I'll tell you the time that flew by was nighttime. Nighttime flew by because there was never enough sleep, and so morning came so fast, and that was a big thing. Call my home phone or email me. I spend literally hours with people because my husband and I did not have any idea what to do when our son was diagnosed. And, I was 8 months pregnant with our daughter when he got diagnosed. And, that is not a good time to get a diagnosis. You're already so overwhelmed and thinking about all the things and having, I was scared to death thinking, having another baby, and I'm wondering and worrying, because we had known for a long time that something was terribly wrong. But what I will say is this: I want to be here and answer questions. I'm going to stop now. I could talk forever because I do, and this is just my life and how I believe that I'm called to give back. Everything I do for free because it's so important to me, because I know what it's like to be sitting in a group and have somebody come in and you think, oh, this is just going to be another blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe it is, but the key word that I want you to hold on to is what I started out with, is there is hope, and there's also help that goes with that hope. And you're not alone. You may feel like you're alone, but you've met me now, and all of you are welcome to refer people to our group, and it's a free group, and or they can email me or call me. I spend a lot of time on this because it's important for people not to be alone and not to feel as though they have no hope, because that is terrible. We've been there, so I know. That's why I know. And I know that if I were dealing with some of the issues that I am now, and I had then, and I had a group like this, our group that we have, then I would not have felt so alone. I would have had somebody I could call up and say, what did you do when your child did this? Or, So, therefore, I do have business cards, and you're welcome. I also brought in a sign-up sheet if you want me to email you, or you're welcome to take my card and email or whatever. But does anybody have a question or anything that you would like me to talk on briefly? Because I think I've